I'm wishing on a star.
So in this next part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to skin your star, which means to put the white wet strength tissue paper onto the frame of the star. So I've already prepared some glue here. I've taken the PVA glue and I've mixed it with water, so it's quite runny. You mix it 1 part PVA to 1 part water, so you can see there. I've also got a pencil, you'll need a pencil, my scissors and my wet strength tissue paper. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay out my paper and place the star onto the corner of the paper, but leaving about 2 centimeters away from the edge here. Because what you want to do next is draw around your star, but as I said, leaving 2 centimeters all the way around the outside. So I'm just going to do that now. And it can be quite rough. Let's see. Now you're leaving this gap because that's the bit that you're going to use to wrap around the frame, but you'll see as I keep moving around, you're going to end up, don't worry too much about these ends, I'm just going to square that off there. You end up with a big star shape. Now it doesn't have to be exact, just to kind of give you an idea. So you should be able to see that shape there. If I take the star away, hopefully you can see that. Let me just make it a bit darker. Let's see it. It's the shape that I've got there. I'm just double checking. So you can see I've got about 2 centimeters all the way around the outside of the frame. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out. Always trying to save as much paper as possible, and you should definitely be able to skin your whole star with 1 piece of paper. Star shape. I'm just going to put this to one side for now. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the frame with PVA. So just on one side, just soak my frame here, because you just want to kind of roughly hold that shape in place on the frame.
And then I'm going to take my star and I'm going to lay it glue side down onto the paper.
Actually, that feels like, oh, there you go, that'll be the way around. So again, your star might not be completely even, so just look at the way that the star fits the best on there. So remember, I've put the glue on the willow there. What I'm going to do now is just cut scissors from the edge of the paper into that point there, and that's going to give me a flap there. I'm going to do that. Just do that all the way around. So from the outside there, you can do it like this, or you can just let's do that. Okay. Actually, I'm not going to go all the way around because I think it's easier that we kind of just start as we go along. So now, because I've got this little flap here, take my glue and should be able to just fold that round the outside of the star. Do the same here. What I was doing there is pulling the paper quite tight there as it goes around. So same here. Here, and once you've kind of got a couple on, you'll find it's easier to sort of move move your star around. So I'm just going to do these 3, and then hopefully when I twist the star around, the paper will stay in place. That's it. So from here I can, again, it has come slightly out of place, so when I'm doing this cut here, still just aiming for the middle there. So that means that this piece here, and if you have any overlaps like that, don't worry too much, just use the glue here and just wrap those around the edges there. Same here. And coming around, I've obviously got a longer bit here, it may have slipped down a little bit, but it really doesn't matter, as long as when I do this cut it goes into that middle part there. It just means that folding it over is going to be easy, and it's going to be easy enough to attach itself to the frame. There you go. And as I said before, this extra bit, you can either cut it off or just wrap it around. Wrap it around like that. Right. So I've now got one side of my star covered with the paper, and this is now kind of much easier, because what you want to do is you want the same thing you want a piece of wet strength tissue paper on this side of the star. So I'm going to take the rest of my paper here, just going to make sure that I can place it properly like that. And I'm going to do the same thing where I'm just going to draw that same shape around the outside of my star. It does work out a bit easier like this. Same thing, I'm going to cut this piece out. And as much as possible, when you put these 2 pieces together, you want as much of the paper to stick to the other sheet as possible. So this is already getting a little bit gluey and messy here. I'm just going to check which way round that would be. That seems to fit that way around. Now this time, so that's how I'm going to do it. This time I'm going to totally soak this bottom sheet with the glue, because we want the paper from this sheet as much as possible to meet the paper from the other side. So I've soaked that. Let's find the right way around. That looks pretty good. And then exactly the same thing as I did before, just chopping into those middle bits there and pulling that paper around. Make sure that I've got enough glue on there. Pulling it around. You can chop off bits on the end if it's just getting a bit messy, if you've got too many excess bits. And also, don't be shy with the glue. Once you're pulling something over and sticking it down, actually just cover that whole point with glue. Now hopefully those are sort of in place now. This can get a little bit messy because obviously we've put glue on the table now. So pull that one round. And I am just going to twist around each time just to make it easier. Cutting into there, folding it around, sealing the paper. should have the wet strength tissue paper on both sides of the star. The final thing I'm going to do now is just give it a really good coat of PVA on both sides, because it means that it helps the paper to stretch. The paper kind of stretches as it dries, and it just means you might be able to kind of push these bits in the middle so the paper actually meets in between there. So just with the brush and the glue, soaking this middle bit as well. And that's now ready to dry. So you're going to now find somewhere warm to leave this, or put it outside if it's not raining, and let it dry. And once it's dry, you'll be ready to decorate.